This is the Cool Meanderings with drjermg podcast. Thanks for listening.
Hello, thanks for listening to Cool Meanderings with drjermg. If this is your first time listening, I'm your host, drjermg. I'm a lifelong educator who also aspires to be a writer and a communicator in different mediums. This podcast is a way of expressing my interest in areas like education, sports, literature, but probably more fiction than nonfiction. Although a lot of my background does include some teaching or reading in the nonfiction space. And so, based on that description, I am a bit of a meander in terms of my interest. And so I thought it'd be cool to lay that out in a podcast, and I've been very fortunate to do so over the past few years. And I can't say that I'm super great at it because, well, I haven't seen or experienced the kind of growth that I would have liked. But I'm happy to say that I've had an opportunity to use a platform to share some things of interest to me and hopefully to others. So this episode is really just an opportunity to reflect. I probably should be asleep at this point, but I'm up tonight because it's one of those nights where I just have a lot of my mind related to life. I'm at a stage where I'm pretty close to mid-century. Pretty close to that milestone where you live for half a century. And it's an opportunity to think about where I've been and some highs and definitely some lows, some learning opportunities. And I'm appreciative. I probably could be more grateful, more appreciative for things that I've been privileged to experience, to learn. I just wanted to chat a little bit. I reveled in my New York Knicks coming back from down 20 points to beat the Indiana Pacers earlier tonight. They won 106-100 to finally get on the scoreboard. They're down 1-2 to the Indiana Pacers after blowing the first two games in Madison Square Garden. So the Knicks still have a shot. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But at the very least, they stood up for themselves and they showed well. Took game 3 when they could have easily rolled over. So that's cool. But that's not what I'm interested in talking about with this episode. I really just want to talk about where one may go or should go in life. Sometimes it's easy to get caught up in the changes that are happening around us. We are in an age of artificial intelligence and also, I would argue, rising entrepreneurship. Even as we have fears about inflation and the economy, the changes in politics, I still think that we are, not only in part because of AI, but also due to the ease of access to technology, more people are becoming entrepreneurs, I would argue. I'm not, this is not statistic based. I mean, it's not evidence based. It's just my anecdotal observation based on what I see. From my point of view, I think that we are in an age of rising entrepreneurship. And it's because we have a lot more tools at our fingertips. People can build $1 million businesses from, using Instagram or Snapchat or TikTok or YouTube, of course. And it's awesome. But I also think that these businesses come down to ideas, and really ideas that meet the moment, the right idea at the right time. And you could argue that this is not new. This concept has been with us for centuries, for generations. It's usually the right idea at the right time that wins the day. And maybe that is so. But that's what I feel. I feel as if it's people that are having the right ideas at the right time can transform their lives due to the amount of technology and innovation that exists, and which is awesome. But for me, sometimes I think observing this and in adjacent to my own situation, I sometimes may wonder where does someone like me fit into that space? The aspiring writer, the educator. How do you fit into that space? And how does one turn the brain to thinking more entrepreneurial, without feeling inauthentic, without feeling like, oh, that's just not me. There's nothing wrong with wanting to make money, and nothing wrong with wanting to enterprise. But I guess I think that it has to be something that has to come from an idea or values that really speak to who the person is, because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. It's a ton of work, and there has to be drive. There has to be a vision. There has to be drive and commitment in order to fulfill that work. I mean, you could have a great idea, but if there is no vision, no drive, then it's just an idea. And yeah, so I think, and again, I'm an aspiring writer. I am a creator. I'm a content creator. I create content through my podcast and my YouTube channel. You go to drjermg on YouTube, you'll find many of my videos there. I don't have quite the subscriber base that I would like. I have about 221 subscribers. Well, to be exactly 221 subscribers. Not about, it's exact. But I do create content that I find interesting, and I hope to reach others with content that may be of interest to them, but truthfully, I don't know. I think for me, a starting base has been things that I think are interesting, that I would want to talk about, that I'm curious about, that I have questions about. And I don't know if that's a winning strategy. If the aim is to win in the follower race or the subscriber race. But for me, that is a launching point. That's a reason to start a podcast, to start a channel, to start a blog. I have a blog. It's called The Pandemic Push-Up. And I actually have two. One is The Pandemic Push-Up. And that blog I started because of an amazing health transformation that I experienced 5 years ago that I'm still trying to make sense of. I went from 247 pounds all the way down to 188 to 190. And now I eventually gained back some of the weight. Now I'm like around 215, 217. But it's been an interesting journey because I'm learning to take better care of myself and working out, eating better, and I'm gradually heading back south, back down in terms of weight, going back closer towards 200. But I'm doing it gradually, and I'm focused on, having a lifestyle that complements that. A realistic lifestyle for me, someone that has family and job, other responsibilities. And I enjoy writing about that. I enjoy, delving into that kind of field, not as a health expert, but just someone that is experiencing this gradual health transformation over time. So that's the kind of thing that keeps me going. But then I have this other blog, and it's a site called drjermg.com. And I haven't updated that page in a couple of years. And the reason I haven't is, I think, due to issues with inspiration and just not sure how to make best use of that page. But I haven't let go of it. I like the idea of having that space for content. And there are times when I think about posts that would be awesome for drjermg.com. But I think it's also great to get some ideas. And so if anyone's listening, and if you go to drjermg.com, that's drjermg.com, I would love your feedback. Your feedback on that page and what you would like to see on that page, on that site. You can send that feedback to me at drjermg, drjermg at coolmeanderings.com. That's drjermg at coolmeanderings.com. Cool Meanderings. drjermg at coolmeanderings.com. Yeah, I'd be really interested in getting some feedback on what to do with that page, because I don't want to let it go, but I haven't taken the next step with transforming it and adding content. Admittedly, I think part of it is a bit of nerves, but also a bit of fear. Fear that it won't be quite right. But then you have to ask, well, what is quite right? What do you want? What do you, do you just want millions of people to visit the site? And say if they did, how would you sustain it? What would you sustain it with? These are the kinds of questions that I ask myself. What's the why in the things that I'm posting and recording? Like, for instance, why am I recording this episode? Well, I think it's because, for a couple of reasons. For one, I'm having some insomnia because in my mind, I'm thinking, for all the things that I've accomplished, there's so much more to accomplish. There's so much more to do. And this is a moment where I'm not exactly sure what those next accomplishments can be or should be. Yet, I have some clues. There are some things that are sitting right in front of me that perhaps I don't see the value in, or I don't see as being such obvious choices. And sometimes that's what it is. Sometimes it's just the things that are right there in front of you that are the obvious things, the things that you just naturally gravitate towards. These are the obvious things that one should divert their energy to. And yeah, you have to make certain choices and ask yourself, what do you want? Do you want to make a ton of money? Do you want to do something that's meaningful? Is it possible to do both? Can you find something that's meaningful to you in life that you could get up and do for free, but yet make money doing it? Is that possible? I think, for many people, I would imagine that this is the North Star. To find that thing in life that you would give your lung for, you would give your one of your kidneys, that you would give your time, your precious time that could be spent with family, time that could be spent with, your physical health, time that could be spent doing so many other things that are important, that matter, that are meaningful. Time that you devote to this thing, that means so much to you, that is so precious because you see the intrinsic value in that thing. You can see how that thing can reach and affect people in ways that are far beyond what's in front of you. And that, to me, is special. It's something, it's a rare treasure in life to find something that motivates you in such a unique way that it's really not about compensation. It's not about accolades. It's not even about the basic appreciation. You're doing a good job. You just do it because it matters. You do it because something internally says you must, have to. If you don't do it, there are dire consequences. It's a mission. It's something that you're destined to do, destined to be. And to find destiny, a purpose in life, is an amazing thing. To wake up and realize why you were created, why your bones and flesh were put together, why the air was put inside your body for yet another day, why you exist. To know that, to be able to say, I know why I exist. To yourself, not to anyone else, but to yourself, to know that. As you know life itself. That to me is everything. I know why I'm here. And to have that realization and to somehow net some benefits from it where you don't have to be hassled or bothered by the trappings of life, food and shelter, provisions for children, should you have any. It's nice. That's the ideal world, right? I think that to me is the North Star. How do you get there? That is the question of a lifetime. How do you get there? I don't know. I think for me, it's just thinking about purpose and destiny. Just thinking about that and wondering what that could be, even at this stage of life for me, where I've lived almost half of my life, and I can see clearly opportunities that I seized and made the most of. And sadly, I also have had the displeasure of reflecting on so many missed opportunities, so many missed opportunities, so many failures. And I think those failures hurt the most when they happen. And then there are flashpoints in life where you have these moments of reflection and you realize what you lost. At a certain point, there are just things that happen that will bring those missed opportunities to your attention. And those are moments that can be painful, but then I think these also opportunities to learn, right? So, and yet, despite that, I think at this stage, I still feel a sense of purpose and destiny. Maybe it's delusion that I feel like life is just getting started. And despite the great things that I've done and I'm doing now, I think there's just so much more out there. I'm not thinking about retirement, thinking about slowing down. In my mind, purpose and destiny is a lifetime pursuit that ends when my heart stops. It ends when I no longer have the capacity to speak or think. That's when it ends. And even then, I would say if I can't speak, but I can think, I still have some purpose. But when life stops completely, that's when it's over. So there's a lot of life left for me and for those out there that may be in a similar situation. A ton of life left. I know that right now in my country, the United States, there's among many discussions, there is a question of aging leadership and when is the right time to step aside. And I can see the argument that it's important to have youthful voices, fresh faces. But as I age, I also realize I can understand why folks I can see why they may have the drive to stay in positions of power or leadership, perhaps longer than they should for some reasons, but still, I mean, in your mind, if you're in your early 80s, but you feel like you're just getting started, you're just making you're just getting yourself at a point where you're thriving. You finally feel like you're thriving, but you're 82. Well, who am I to tell you to stop? You feel like at 82 that you're just getting yourself where you want to be and you're making strides. Make your strides, man. Make your strides for as long as you can. For as long as you can. Because eventually it stops. So, yeah, I may be approaching mid-century, but I feel like there is so much out there to do. So much out there to do. And it may involve making a ton of money, but it may not. It may involve making enough money, but also exploring other aspects of creativity or developing a stronger knowledge base. I have a library here in my house. Part of it is mine, part of it is my lovely wife's, and I can't understand half of the library because it's in a different language that I don't speak. My children speak it, but I don't speak. I don't really understand that language, but I live with an obligation to do so. I live with a sense of guilt because I haven't taken the step to learn that language. But I haven't given up on the idea of making that leap and, you know, bridging that cultural gap that exists in my family. Will I get to the point where I can understand the nuances of the literature in that language? I don't know. Probably not, but you never know. At this point, I'm still trying to get to that level with Spanish because I've learned Spanish over the years. I'm not quite there yet. I did have I've had some adventures with the Spanish language. I'll put it that way. Um, and I've had some learning experiences. I'll just leave it there. But that's I think that's what's interesting about life is there are so many unique opportunities that can present themselves. Um, but I think there's also a sense of responsibility to do something with those opportunities because as I say these words, I think about the millions, maybe billions of people that don't have the privilege of sitting down to think about life in such a way. And so I feel like there's a sense of responsibility to do something that's meaningful with the life that I've been given because of the privilege of having that life, having that opportunity. Now, meaningful, is meaningful, does that equate to lucrative? Maybe, maybe not. I would love for meaningful work to be lucrative work. And sometimes it can be. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's just enough. And that has to be okay. It hasn't always been okay for me, but I'm learning that that's okay. It's okay to want a meaningful existence that is lucrative, but it's also okay if that isn't the case. There's still value, immense value in finding a purpose that is meaningful to you, that you believe in, that gets you up every day, that drives you to do that thing regardless of what it yields to you. It just matters to you. Whatever that is, that matters to you. And that to me is what life can be about. Purpose and living and having something to look forward to. Something that you think makes a difference. Maybe not in the immediate sense, but at some point down the line, it can make a difference. And that is not a small thing. Making a difference is not a small thing. And in fact, making a difference to me is a gift. It's a blessing that is so easily taken for granted. So That's what's got me up so late at night, thinking about purpose and destiny. When you think, you think about those words sometimes, they can come across as a bit ridiculous, but I don't know. Maybe I am a bit ridiculous. You're aspiring writer, podcaster. Yeah, maybe so. But sometimes that ridiculousness is what keeps me going. So um, I think for this podcast, I would love for it to be a platform that shares ideas that you, the listener, have an interest in. Um, and I think we can get there. I think the more feedback I get, the more we can speak to things that are of interest to you. But in this episode, I just wanted to just unload on some of my own thoughts about just life itself and where it's taken me and where I'd like it to guide me next. What about you, friend? If you're still listening at this point in the episode, what's driving you in life? Where are you and where do you want to go? What pushes you to get up every day and say, hey man, that's a reason to be up and alive? I mean, it could be anything. It could be Minecraft. It could be a job that you really like. It could be your maybe taking your kids to practice. It could be looking for a job. It could be looking for food. It could be just looking for something to do because you're bored out of your mind. I don't know. It's a world of nearly 10 billion people now. I mean, I doubt. I mean, it may be a infinitesimal fraction of that is listening. But for those that are, I don't know. I don't know what you're thinking, but I'm curious. So if you'd like to share, please drop me a line at drjermg at coolmeanderings.com. That's drjermg at coolmeanderings.com. And you can also check out my YouTube channel at drjermg. Just go onto YouTube and look for drjermg. You can check out some of my recent videos, and I intend to increase that collection of videos with some other content soon. Well, if you are still there, I really thank you for your listening ear. And I hope that you will share some content with me. Share your thoughts, your ideas. All right? Thanks for listening, and be you.
This is the Cool Meanderings podcast with Dr. Jermg.